Hi, my name is Steve Moruzzi. We're here at the Laars Training Center. We're going to talk about lead lag cascading the NeoTherm commercial boilers from 285 up to 850,000 BTUs. It utilizes a touchscreen display that we'll discuss. We'll show the navigation of that. One boiler becomes the leader, or otherwise known as the master control, and the other boilers become the lag, or otherwise known as the slave control. We can cascade up to 8 boilers. The lead boiler always has the system sensor landed on it, and if you're utilizing outdoor sensing or outdoor reset, you want to land that outdoor sensor on the lead boiler as well. The lead boiler would lead lag rotate based on runtime and things of that nature. So what we're going to do here is we're going to set up a couple of tabletop units. We'll go through the programming, setting up the lead boiler, and then simulating setting up the lag or slave controls. Okay, so we've set up 2 tabletop units that we utilize here at the training center. We're going to set one of these controls up as a lead control. The other will be set up as a lag control. Keep in mind we can lag up to 8 boilers. So we're going to start with the leader, otherwise known as the master control. We have powered the boiler up and it has gone through its synchronization. And here we are looking at the home screen. So first off, we're going to touch the symbol for the solar control icon, and we're going to talk about this status summary screen a little bit. So what you'll see is a home button, which if you press the home symbol, it'll bring us back to the home screen. You'll see a camera symbol, which you could take pictures of individual screens if you cared to and load them on your computer with a thumb drive. And all of that information is in the manual. We have a padlock symbol, so to log in on some of these parameter changes, it will require a login, and you would click on the padlock symbol, bringing you to the login screen. And we have a back arrow. The back arrow is any screen we're on, we want to get to the previous screen, simply hit the back arrow, and it brings us back to the previous screen. Down below that we have the demand. So right now the demand is off. We do not have a call for heat or hot water. Burner state is in standby because we do not have a call for heat. If we did have a call for heat, the boiler was running, it would read run, or it could read driving to pre-purge, post-purge, whatever the burner state is in at that time. We also have the firing rate, which is here. If the boiler was operating, it would give us a firing rate and a fan speed. Below that we have some other lines. So we have a inlet, outlet, stack. These are all sensors in the boiler. So we're looking at an inlet sensor, outlet sensor, stack sensor. We also have capabilities for domestic hot water. So if we had a sensor or a mechanical aquastat, that would give us the information there. We can do 4 to 20 milliamp. So if you guys are operating these boilers on a 4 to 20 milliamp signal, whatever signal it's receiving will show up there. And the outdoor sensor, I mentioned that we provide you with a system sensor and an outdoor sensor with each boiler, and those have to be landed on the lead boiler or master control only. Alright, so if you're using outdoor reset, you're going to land the outdoor sensor, and this will register what the outdoor temperature is. And then lastly we have the flame signal. When we get into configuration, which I'm just going to show you real quick, once we set this up as a cascaded boiler, we'll get one more line item here. So I'm just going to go in, I'll explain this in a little bit. I just want to show that to you. So I'm going to enable this. When I go back to that home screen, or the status summary screen, we now show the lead lag bar. And what that is, that would be our system sensor. So the system sensor, when we land that out in the system, follow the manual, that will show up as what the temperature is out in the system, and that is the temperature that we're trying to maintain. Alright, so back to the status summary screen. Then down below here, so what I've done, I've disabled that, so the lead lag box is now removed. We have configuration button, operation button, diagnostics, and details. So first off, we want to get into configuration. So we want to set this control up as the lead boiler, otherwise known as the master control. We're going to click on configuration, and now this brings us to a configuration menu. On the configuration menu, we have some up and down arrows and a slide bar. If we need to scroll down, you can either use the up or down arrows, or you could literally use the slide bar to navigate down. So the very first line item is System Identification and Access. We can click on that, and in the manual it'll tell you to change the boiler name. It is not 100% necessary to change the name, but for example, Boiler 1 could be named Boiler 1 or NeoTherm 1, Boiler 2 would be NeoTherm 2, Boiler 4 would be NeoTherm 4. And very simply, to change the name, just click on that line item. It's going to prompt you to log in. So if you have not logged in, now go up to this padlock symbol, click on it, it brings us up to the login screen. The login is the letter LNT. It stands for Laars NeoTherm. It's in all of the manuals and startup guides. LNT, and then press OK. Once you've logged in, that padlock symbol will show the symbol will become unlocked. Now we can get in and change the name. So I'm going to click on that, just click space, 1, click OK, and now this boiler is named NeoTherm 1. The other thing I want you to do while you're in this screen, navigate down to the bottom. Make sure that both the Modbus 1 address and the Modbus 2 addresses both read 1. So for each boiler, the lead boiler will read 1 for the boiler 1, boiler 2 would be 2, boiler 3 would be 3, etc. Okay? I'm going to hit the back arrow, brings us back to the configuration menu. The next thing we want to do is scroll all the way down to the bottom, and we want to enable this boiler as the master control. So we're going to click on Lead Lag Master Configuration. It was defaulted for disable from the factory. If it is disabled, very simply click on it. As long as our padlock is unlocked, we want to choose Enable. So I'm going to highlight Enable, press OK. Here we have the set points. So for this example, it was set for 170. What we can do, let's say we only wanted, let's say we wanted a higher temperature, or we needed a 180 set point. Very simply, just press on the CH set point screen. They all come defaulted for 120 degrees. And what we're going to do is elevate that. You can either use the up arrows or down arrows, or press clear in the lower right corner of the screen and type in your value. In this case, I'm going to type in 180 and press OK. When I do that, now my central heat set point is set at 180. You can also adjust your DHW set point. If you're doing that, it's going to bring up the same screen that you just saw. And down here is advanced settings. I'm just going to show this to you. The modulation sensor should always read S10 if you're using our controls and our sensor. Modulation backup sensor is disabled. It should stay disabled. The hysteresis is what I want to point out. So we have an off hysteresis and an on hysteresis. The off hysteresis is nothing more than a differential. That's our off differential. So if we have a 180 set point, that means 5 degrees, so 185 becomes our off point. And our on differential is 5 degrees. So our on point becomes 175. So now that we've adjusted or looked at the hysteresis, the next thing I want you to do is hit the arrows. So we have left and right arrows here, and I'm going to advance. Again, that's showing our set point. If we were using 4 to 20, this is where we're going to adjust those temperatures. So 4 milliamp will give us, in this example, 80 degrees. 20 milliamp would give us 120 if you're using 4 to 20. So we're going to advance further till we get to the outdoor reset screen. Now here is where you would adjust outdoor reset if you're utilizing outdoor reset. If you're not, simply highlight enabled and choose disabled, and it'll show up as disabled on the screen. However, we strongly recommend that you always use the outdoor reset. This is a condensing product, so I'm going to enable it, press OK, and as you can see, it's enabled. Next, you're going to adjust the maximum outdoor temperature, your minimum outdoor temperature, and your low water temperature. So the maximum outdoor temperature, the way this is right now, reads on the screen at 70 degrees, and the low water temperature is 100. So at 70 degrees or above, we would only achieve 100 degrees. So you may want to adjust this, and this is not the defaulted settings. But, so what I'm going to do is just highlight this, and I'm going to choose a value of 55 degrees. Click OK. And then I'm going to set my low water temp. So in the example we said it was a high temp 180. So the low temperature we may want to be looking at is 130 hypothetically. So I'm going to put in 130. Click OK. So at 55 degrees or above, we're only going to deliver 130 degrees to the building itself. The minimum outdoor temperature, and highlight that, and I'm going to choose 15. So at 15 degrees, we would achieve 180. You can also, at the bottom here, it says show line. You can highlight that, and that'll show your curve for you. Okay? So at 55 degrees, we'll only deliver 130. At 35 degrees, roughly, we'll deliver 155. At 25 degrees, we'll deliver roughly 168. And at 15 degrees, we'll deliver 180, or below 15. All right? So that show line will show you the curve. If you don't like your curve at that point, just come in and readjust it. Next, you're going to hit your right-hand arrow in your warm weather shutdown. So your warm weather shutdown is what you want to shut your heating system off at. So example, its set point or defaulted is 100, but at 65 degrees or 70 degrees, you may not want the boilers to come on to heat the building. Just highlight a number, put that value in, and press OK. Next is the rate allocation. In the manual and startup guides, it will explain that. So if you have 2 boilers, it's 65%. 3 boilers is roughly 50%. 4 through 8 boilers would be 35%. So for this example, let's say we have 3 boilers. I'm just going to highlight the base load common rate, and I'm just going to drop this down. Or you can click clear and type in the value. I'm just going to highlight that for 35%. Click OK. Also, after you're done starting these boilers, you may want to make sure, let's say you have 3 boilers, you want to make sure they're all going to come online during the startup procedure. Come back into this value, into this screen, and choose your lowest temperature or lowest base load common rate, just for test purposes. Click OK, and now what will happen is boiler 1 will come on up to 20%, then bring on boiler 2 to 20%, boiler 3, then they'll all modulate up. Once you've confirmed that all boilers are going to operate, now you can come back into this. If you have 2 boilers, just simply adjust your base load common rate. So right now I'm just going to say 3 boilers or 4 boilers or more is 35% for this example. All right. So what I'm going to do now, we need to go back to the configuration menu. All right. So use your back arrow. In this case, I hit the back arrow twice, brought me back to the configuration menu. All of these boilers, you will need to enable the slave configuration, even on the lead boiler, because of the way it's communicating through Modbus. So we have enabled the master control. We've gone through the set points. Next, we have to highlight lead lag slave control and make sure that is set up for enable slave for built-in lead lag master. If it was disabled, just simply highlight it, choose enable slave for built-in lead lag master, and press OK. So the lead control, or the lead boiler, is now set up. Next, we can go back to the home screen, bring us back to the status summary, and as you can see, there's an alert that showed up here. There are over 500 alerts in the Honeywell solar control. Not all the alerts affect the operation of the boiler. So we can simply clear this alert, and this came up because we're actually doing setup. Very simply, you can highlight this to clear any alert and or lockout. Lockouts we'd be more concerned about. And simply clear it, and that's it. If you want to remove the alerts from the home screens, come back to the home menu, the home screen, click Setup, highlight display setup, and in this box you'll see that the display alerts on the status summary bar may be highlighted. So anytime there is alert, it will appear on the home screen. We do get a lot of phone calls from maintenance facility where they're walking by checking boilers in the morning and they're seeing an alert and they're very concerned. Again, alerts do not affect the operation of the boiler. You can simply uncheck that and click Save, go back to your home screen, and now the alerts will not appear on that history bar. However, if you still wanted to check the alerts, go to History, then click on Alerts, and it will show up what the alerts were. All right, so that it will still store it under the history bar. Okay, again, alerts. Click OK. So the last thing we want to do is on the master control is set up the date and time. So starting from the home screen, and very simply I hit the home button, we're going to hit setup in the lower right corner. From there, we're going to look over here where it says display setup, click on display setup. The bottom left-hand corner is set date and time. Highlight set date and time, and just simply come in and change. Again, this is a touch screen, so I'm just going to change this to the 6th of January 2016, and the time is approximately 10:08, so I'm just going to press on letter 9 and increase 10:08, and I'm going to change that to AM. Press OK, and now when we go back, if there was a lockout, we would actually be able to see the date and time. So the lead control, or the lead boiler now, is set up. Next we're going to go to is the slave control, or one of the lag boilers, and set that up. Okay, so our slave control. We're going to set this up as a lag or slave boiler. We have powered it up, so it's gone through its synchronization process, and now we're at the home screen. So very simply, we're going to hit the icon for the solar control. We do not have the system sensor hooked up here, so it's not going to show you lead lag. That's only going to be displayed on the lead boiler. All right, we've already gone through the demand states, etc. So first thing we want to do is go in and unlock this screen. So we're going to hit the padlock symbol. Again, the password is LNT. Press OK, and you'll now see the padlock symbol unlock. Next, we want to go to Configuration. Highlight Configuration. We're going to choose System ID and Access. Here, again, if you want to change the boiler name, you can come in. We'll call this one Boiler 2 or NeoTherm 2. Click OK and it'll change. But what's important here is that we come down and we change these two addresses. So this is Boiler 2. I'm going to click on the Modbus 1 address. The MB2 address or MB1 address screen will come up. Very simply, choose value 2. Click OK, and you'll see the Modbus address 1 appear as 2. Modbus 2 address we also have to change. Okay. So those are both changed to 2. If we were on boiler 3, we would change these to 3. If we were on boiler 8, we would change these to 8. So again, we can cascade up to 8 boilers. The leader is 1, and then these follow sequence. All right. So I'll go back. I'll choose this value as 2. I'll choose this value as 2. So in this case, we have 2 boilers, or I'm only working on boiler 2. I'm going to go back with the back arrow. We're going to scroll down. And what we want to do is confirm that the master control is disabled, okay, on this screen. So we're going to highlight that. If it is enabled, to simply highlight it, choose disable, press OK. All right, because this is a lag control or slave control. So the master on all of the slaves will be disabled. Hit the back arrow again, choose lead lag slave configuration. Mostly, it's probably disabled depending on the screen and who has been in there prior to you or how it was defaulted. All right, highlight it, choose Enable for built-in lead lag master. Click OK. So lastly, on the slave boilers, what we want to do is set the date and time, which we've already shown on the master control. However, we'll go back to the home screen, press Setup, choose Display Setup, set date and time, and now you can get in and change the date and time. So both the master and slave controls are now configured, and you can get into combustion setup and complete your combustion. So now that we've completed the configuration on the lag boilers, if you have any technical questions or anything, please refer to the manuals first. Otherwise, contact our factory. There you can ask for product support. That number is 1-800-900-9276. Thank you.